Hello again, listeners. Before we head out onto the wild seas of our next scenario, we'd just like to take a moment to say a big thank you to 10 of our £10 tier Patreon backers, our heralds of the end times, as we like to call them. Without their generosity, we wouldn't be able to pay for Danann's legal fees. We are deeply grateful, and, with a bit of luck, we'll have Danann out and home by Christmas. And so to the invocation of those names. Our deepest gratitude goes out to you, Eileen Kelly, Dylan Lang, Muted for You, also known as Blue Spaceman Zero, Chunky Rook, Tammy Hurley, Craig Taylor, William Marshall, Anne Julius, and the one we know only as Tim. We only hope you know which Tim you are. Thank you all. Your sacrifice really is very much appreciated, and it helps us run the show and keeps us telling the stories that we so love to tell. And now, as the Antarctic sea captain said to the ornithologist, on with the show. The dense green to black obsidian mass begins to be pulled away from by our invisible camera, travelling at great speed across the glassy surface of the deep South Atlantic as it reaches the Antarctic Straits, the South Shetlands. Proof positive of the British influence in these waters. They've got no business being there, but history tells the tale. Camera pans up and we see the Epsilon Pioneer. Grey skies surrounding, looming over that dense green, maybe a hint of blue in the ocean. Not choppy, but you would never say that it was calm. And a mass of grey cloud is forming a bank that hides the top of an island. Some 2 miles away from it, perhaps. And our camera pans around to see the helicopter aboard this shining flagship of the British Bird Preservation Society, the BBPS. This is the Epsilon Pioneer. The 1st of March, 1984. Some of us remember it well. Now, obviously, you've spent 6 weeks aboard ship, so you know each other by now. A little bit. Having been requested to meet the captain, Captain Warncliffe, who's just standing by the bar of the ship there. The bar for the railing of the ship, not the bar where you go to order your gin and tonic. 6 of his guests have been asked to join him to raise a toast to the arrival at Griffin Island. The Apocalypse Players present The Trail of the Loathsome Slime, a 2nd edition Call of Cthulhu scenario by Marcus L. Rowland, adapted for 7th edition by Joseph Chance, starring Dominic Allen as Barney Basker, the documentary maker.
And what do you think is the most important thing about preserving endangered birds?
Birds are...
Sorry, don't cough into the mic, please. Just relax. Just relax. Yeah, you step back a bit. That's it. No, you don't need to be that close. You don't need to be that close.
Sorry.
Dan Wheeler as Johnny McCutcheon, the ornithologist.
Birds are, they're kind of like souls in flight, huh? You know? Like humans we're a plague, like a parasite on the earth. But birds, they represent, hope, huh? You know, nature, like purest nature in the air. preserving them is... If we can preserve them, it means we can save all of nature.
Not everyone on board ship had the same extremist views as Mr. McCutcheon.
Are you gonna... Is that included in... Do I need to reply to that?
No, that's... No. That's narration. That's as if I'm speaking directly to the listener.
You normally do that after, when I've gone, huh?
I'm not taking any chances. I'm having to edit live, on the fly.
Do you want me to play a bit of guitar?
Special guest starring Meer as Pascal Giraud, the pilot.
What made you want to enlist upon this particular project?
Yeah, I reckon it was the paycheck.
Right.
And special guest starring Adam Meggido as Danny Cook, the photographer.
I've got to tell you, Barney, your voice is like fucking velvet. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a snake going down velvet in a sauna.
Well, people have said...
I could listen to it all night.
Thank you. People have said far less kind things, but I can't use any of that because I can't have swears on the BBC.
I won't cuss. No, I won't cuss. No word of a lie. I won't do them.
Marvellous. Do you prefer Mr. Cook or Cookie or Danny?
Most people call me Cookie. That's all right. I don't mind.
Excellent. Cookie is an example.
What's on your mind?
Sorry, I was just doing a bit of narration there. That's all right. We'll cut around this. It'll be fine. Cookie is an example of the rough and ready types that are needed for such a complex naval expedition. Mr. Cook, what made you want to be part of this expedition of all the other things you could be doing?
Well, that's a good question, Barney. I mean, I've been everywhere, to tell you the truth, you know. I've done wildlife, I've done war zones, I've done everything. I'm looking for something. You know, actually, tell you the truth, best gig I ever had was a week in Antigua with Sam Fox and Linda Lou Sardi. But the wife was steaming. She wouldn't speak to me for a week when I come back. It's something new, mate. Like some kind of... Like, there's a lot of all you ornithologists getting all excited about it. I'd love to snap something we ain't seen before.
Well, that's a very noble aspiration, I think. Well, I hope wish you the best of luck in finding whatever it is you're looking for. New experiences, new birds, and possibly a steaming wife.
With Jeany Spark as Dr. Rosa Thomas-Dalton, PhD, the researcher.
Please, I just want to ask you a few questions. It's for the documentary.
Hang on. I'm so sorry.
No, please, the shoes. Oh, God.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I think that was the last of it.
Right, I'm sorry. I didn't realise you were in the middle of... I'm sorry. I wouldn't have pursued you as aggressively if I'd known that's what you were doing.
You couldn't have known. I've got a 5-minute window before it happens again, so... If you want to ask me questions for your... is it an interview, a documentary?
Hopefully it will form a very compelling radio documentary about the particular ins and outs of this expedition.
That's wonderful.
Yes, how have you found the living on a boat for so long?
Yes, an interesting study. I hadn't anticipated I'd be quite so unwell for quite so long. I was told on the beginning of the journey that after 10 days the seasickness tends to move off one, but no, it's been full pelt for 6 weeks. I'm really not looking forward to the return voyage, but it's been eye-opening, but also, I mean, what an adventure to travel to the other side of the world and to have this opportunity to study the lesser barb penguin is a real opportunity to see a multi-species ethnography and to approach anthropology from a whole...
I'm sorry, I'm going to stop you right there. I think you've got some of your sick on the microphone. I'm not sure this will pick anything up. Hang on.
Oh, God, sorry.
No, it's okay. These things happen.
Sorry. Actually,
more often than you'd think.
I'm just... that window's just tightened rather... I'm so sorry.
I'll come back. Sorry, I'll step outside. Oh, dear God. Jesus fucking whipped.
Danann McAleer as Edwin Crowe, the independent security contractor.
Right. So, what do you want to know again?
Well, I was just going to ask you some questions about the expedition, what got you involved, and a bit of your background, perhaps. Well, for the documentary.
I don't think I agreed to be part of a documentary.
Well, no one ever does. It's meant to be a sort of a slice of life crossed with a bit of investigative journalism, crossed with a bit of nature documentary. Yes.
Well, let me ask you, why are you on this? Why are you on this boat?
Well, I was invited to do exactly this. Well, by various interested parties. I mean,
listen, I've nothing against you personally. I'm just interested as to why a man would seek to go halfway across the world on a boat full of strangers he don't know and just talk to them.
Well, if we don't do that, I mean, can we really say that it's been witnessed? There has to be a record, otherwise it didn't really happen.
Why's there got to be a record of everything? I don't like all this writing everything down.
Well,
it's confusing.
It's not writing it down, we're recording it. Recording it for mass media. If that didn't happen, then what would be the point of the BBC?
Right, okay. So, it's a slice of life.
If you like. Tell us a slice of your life.
You said that.
I did, yes, but I'm not going to say that in the documentary.
I see. Grew up in Staithes. That's a slice of my life. Great, yeah.
See.
Do you like fish and chips? Do you like the Moors?
Together?
Well, not always.
I mean, occasionally I might indulge in some fish and chips. I grew up in Brighton, actually.
Right, I thought you meant
a lot of fish and chips there.
Yeah, I've heard as much. Anyway,
my
I've
family are Scottish, in fact. Oh.
Are they? Lovely.
Why? Where you go?
Sorry. I don't know. I don't like being in these cramped corridors. I'm off to get a breath of fresh air, all right? I'll see you in a bit.
And Joseph Chance as your keeper of the arcane lore. It's March the 1st, 1984. You spent the last 6 weeks on the Epsilon Pioneer bound for Griffin Island, British Antarctica. You received confirmation of your part in the expedition on November the 9th, 1983, and you departed Bristol to Port Stanley on January the 11th. Discovered by HMS Griffin in 1840, the island is remote and largely unexplored, at least in official terms. It was previously known for its ornithological significance and is a reliable site for the provision of fresh water for passing vessels. The expedition today has a dual purpose, primarily to renew study of the last remaining colony of the lesser barbed penguin, but also to reassess the geological resources available on site and the potential to create an ecologically sound conservation station. The last manned research group faced a very poor Antarctic summer in 1976, arriving in the BBPS's previous ship, the Delta Pioneer, but staying only for a week. Aboard that ship were 3 members of the crew and officers who were aboard the Epsilon Pioneer, Captain Warncliffe, the first mate Ericsson, and second mate Rothman. All have visited the island before. On that occasion, in 76, bad weather made progress towards anything beyond a predicted bird census, and a perfunctory land survey extremely difficult. A return expedition was planned, but the war in the Falklands intervened. Your time on the Epsilon Pioneer has been spent preparing for researches, writing up task rotas, prepping and checking equipment, all alongside the daily business of life aboard ship with over 20 people on board. I won't go through the entire roster of individuals, some of whom are your work colleagues, other of whom you barely know, but you sort of say hello to on a passing in the corridors and the ship basis. But here's a few highlights, shall we say, of personnel aboard. The first mate, Ericsson, has a nice singing voice and is good with the guitar. Dr. Blatheby, the leader of the ornithologist team, keeps mostly to himself and has a particular interest in scrimshaw, you've noticed. The chef, Percy Brown, makes curious dishes influenced by his Eastern European ex-wife. You were rather sad to miss out on the crew's borscht with fresh rye bread rolls last night, but you did enjoy the stroganoff with dumplings at the captain's table all the same. And there's the youngest crewman, Ahmad Patel, who has proved most willing to discuss the ship's library, such as it is, proving an almost insatiable conversationalist regarding almost any of the titles therein. You've done a few training sessions regarding the use of new tents designed for Antarctic conditions and familiarization with survival equipment. The ship is carrying both a sea-landing, two-seater Bell helicopter, and in the hold there's a modified ST-4 snow track, an all-terrain vehicle which seats 4 with room for research equipment. All the mod cons. This morning is the morning of your arrival at Griffin Island. The air is indeed fresh. The air is indeed fresh as you step out. Pascal, Giraud, you're the first to go out onto deck as you see the broad shoulders of the tall figure of Captain David Warncliffe. A gentlemanly respect between the two of you has developed. Neither of you is particularly willing to talk about it. He has his Royal Navy way of doing things. But I think he respects you as a man of capability and skill. As you step out, of course you're wearing your traditional leather jacket. Everyone's now accustomed to seeing you with your utility belt on, and in that moment you strike as the man of action. Are there any other distinguishing features? What the camera sees as you step out of that heavy, thick, white-painted door with the wheel lock? It swings open. You can see Warncliffe ahead.
Pascal Giraud is a man of 44, as you mentioned, a man of action. He certainly seems capable. There's a bit of a cynical cast to his features, though handsome. He gives the impression of being unruffled by the most intense experiences. Those who've spent some time in his presence would describe him as a cool head in a mad world. As mentioned, he's wearing a leather jacket. He has a short beard. It was a goatee originally, but now it's grown out. And his hair is slicked back. He's generally practically dressed. And as mentioned, he carries a utility belt with various items on it. Those who spent some time in his presence know that he does carry a flask with him, and he's not shy about sharing. As he walks up to the captain, he gives a grunt of acknowledgement. You want to see me, Captain?
Ah, Giraud. Good to have you here. Yes, the others are tardy. Hoping to have a little traditional toast to the sighting of land.
Well,
second mate called it. We're about 15 minutes away, I think. Look at the flanks on her. And he points across to this really quite dynamic feature of it. It appears to be almost like a kind of volcanic emergence from that deep green blue water. The ring of cloud at the top, almost like a veil, hides the very peaks. But you can see snow still on the banks. So there's clearly a beach there, and it must be at the ebb of the tide to a certain extent. You could give me a spot hidden.
it's a pretty sight, and one we have waited a long time to see. I am certainly not one to turn down the chance for a toast, especially at the captain's invitation. And you said a spot hidden roll, yes?
Yes, if you could give me a spot hidden roll ahead of the others.
Okay. Very well. Spot hidden.
Hey, Danann, this island sounds familiar, doesn't it?
It does a tad.
A veil of fog back in Whitby Bay again. So soon.
Not a bad result. I got a 53 on a... Oh, no, sorry. That is a 35. So it's quite a good result. A 35 on a 55.
So you see that he's holding on to the rail really tightly. You can see that his knuckles look a bit white. And now you look at him a bit more carefully. You see that he's doing this thing where although he has a thick beard, he's carrying a bit of extra weight, but he's a muscular man, tall, 6'2", you'd say. His face looks pale, and he seems to be sort of chomping slightly at his mouth. But at that point, he brings out a bottle of Courvoisier and says, "Yes, I've got some cups here." And he's got quite capacious, old-style, thick woolen, navy-style jacket, and he takes out some kind of camping cup-style things. And Danny Cook and Barney Basker come out of the door roughly at the same time, see this happening, and indeed behind them come McCutcheon, Dalton, and Crowe. You've all been asked individually to toast the island.
Oh, please, don't say anything or clink glasses until I've got this thing going. Hang on. Okay, carry on.
Yes, of course, the recording equipment comes out. So Warncliffe starts pouring brandies and goes, here we are, everyone. Gentleman, lady, there you go. A double measure for you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Ma'am, I should say, ma'am. Too much time with those Americans.
Thanks very much.
Yes.
He doesn't give you a double measure, and he's quite soft at the eyes when he passes it over to you. Believe you me, we'll be on shore in 15 minutes. Everything will be fine.
Thank God.
Could you all give me a spot hidden, and I'll Giraud, I'm going to count you as passing, because it was close to a heart, so...
It's an extreme success from Johnny McCutcheon.
Nice.
No from Cookie.
No from Cookie. Extreme from...
regular success for me.
Regular success also.
That's a hard success for me.
So Dalton, Basker, or Thomas-Dalton and Basker, you notice that he looks a bit pale. And actually at that point he goes, ooh, and sort of does this kind of, as if he's coping with a little bit of a belch. And he's only got 6 cups, because he's a capable man and a big fellow, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's not a walking bar. The British Association for Research, Antarctic Research Society. He's a drinker though, and he gets out a hip flask and he sips that. But you do notice that he looks pale, the two of you. Danny Cook, I think you're just too busy looking at that island.
Yeah, sure.
And it's quite a handsome sight after so much sea for so long.
I'm usually pretty eagle-eyed, so I'm distracted.
And actually your reward is you get a glimpse of the gold of sun to the east, for it is 6:45.
I'll get some snaps on the Nikon.
Yeah, exactly, so camera's up. And for the hard success, Crowe, you notice that it's just that habit you have. You just cast over your eyes, and you see that there's a figure standing on the port side at the front of the boat. Looks like a big man. At this distance and in the sort of half-light of morning, it's not 100% clear, but you think it might be the steward,
Right.
of the ship. And he's standing, and there's just something slightly off about him. But McCutcheon and Giraud, it's very clear to you that there's something odd about him. He seems to be staring fixedly, and he's not holding the bar, which is strange, because when you're on the side of the ship like this, the tendency is to sort of hold it with the swell. And he's just sort of trusting his legs, and you can see him sort of slightly staggering, as if he might have had too much to drink. McCutcheon, with your extreme success, could you give me a listen roll?
Sure.
Because I think you've become a little bit hyper-aware, shall we say.
And that's an extreme success on my listen.
Okay, so you think you hear what sounds like a whoosh and a thump, and then something rapid that could be someone running back in the main body of the ship. These ships have those sort of dull echoes, don't they, of the metal, and it's like because they're so solid. And it's from the door that you just left out, from this port side door. There's another equal opposite door on the starboard side, so you can go to either side. And there's further doors up.
Is that unusual?
It's the whoosh and the thump, followed by what sounds like running feet. With an extreme success, I'll give you all 3 details. In that moment, do you say anything?
Am I close enough to either Crowe or Giraud to maybe mention something to them quietly?
Well, Crowe was coming out at the same time as you, so roll luck. Let's see if you moved. And I'll give you a bonus die.
Thank you very much.
Because you did so well. all of your extreme successes.
So that's a pass on my luck. Nice rolling so far.
Yeah, Crowe's still next to you. I sort of imagine you all along in a line, and Warncliffe's next to Giraud, who's
and so me and Crowe are sort of closest to the door.
further to the back.
I just maybe
stern.
I just put I've got a cigarette halfway to my mouth, and I just turn to him.
It is the 80s.
Yeah, so either halfway to the mouth or in the mouth, and I turn to Crowe and I say, "You hear that? Some sort of commotion down there."
Give us a listen check, just Crowe.
Yeah.
And while that's happening, Giraud, are you going to do anything about this sort of swaying, staggering man? Are you?
Ooh, that's a 2, so that's extreme success.
Question: have I noticed the staggering man, or did I?
Yeah. So, but only you and McCutcheon noticed.
I'll draw the captain's attention to him. What is the name of the fellow that I think it is?
He's a big man.
Big Barney.
So, actually, you do recognise, even though I'd say you were furthest to the stern, you think it might be Henry Duff, who is on the engineering team. He's rather loud and dislikable. It carries too much weight.
I'll draw the captain's attention to him instead. Yeah. What you think Duff is up to, eh?
Oh, goodness knows. Good point, though. Looks a little more to starboard than to port, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I understand, but you want me to have a word?
No. I'll talk to him in a moment. And you do see he closes his eyes as if he's sort of fighting a wave of nausea. That'd be your instinct. But he absolutely masters himself, and through whatever action anyone does next, he says, "Anyway, enough of this. Here's to Griffin Island, and to 1840, when HMS Griffin landed here. When HMS Griffin landed here, all those years ago, 124 years ago, not today, of course, but it was around this Antarctic summertime. Cheers. Bottoms up." He drinks.
Cheers.
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 I cheers as well. And I did get a 2 on my listen, so I got an extreme success.
Perfect. So, I'm going to go with Giraud and Crowe and McCutcheon, just for now. There's some snaps coming from Cook. They're pretty good snaps, too. No photography roll needed. Basker's recording the whole scene. Dalton's probably fighting the urge to... You did drink the brandy, Dalton?
Sipping.
So you sipped a little. But Giraud, Crowe and McCutcheon, you could physically do something during that toast. You could drift. You could walk confidently, even. You could run if you liked, although that might seem a little out of sorts.
Well, was there anything specific I learned from my listen?
Oh, and the listen. Yeah, so you heard running. You heard dun, 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 but it's
below deck,
and it instantly trails away. If McCutcheon hadn't caught your attention, you wouldn't have heard it.
Right. I'm not sure I'm that bothered by that. I mean,
well, it's unusual to hear it at sort of...
Yeah. It's unusual.
I'm just saying, no, it's none of my business, huh? But I heard like that sounded like a thump and a run, like maybe someone had, like maybe it's some kind of scuffle, huh? But it's none of my business. I just thought I'd let you know.
What's that? What are you talking about there? Something untoward on ship?
Yeah. Running down.
I say, Duff! And he shouts in this very loud, which I won't do. But at the same time, Giraud, Crowe, are you going to be moving?
Yeah, if the captain is directing me.
McCutcheon's wisely communicated, but I think that's his movement up.
Actually, how well do I know the captain? Probably fairly well.
6 weeks. You know, you trust him. I think you do think his caution is wise regarding certain choices. It's certainly his policy on no weapons aboard ship. You approved of heartily.
Could I try a psychology roll on him just to see?
Yes.
If I'm getting some insight into what he seems out of sorts. And
here we go.
Okay, that's a 13 on a 28, so it is a hard success.
It sort of all falls into place for you that he's hiding the fact that he feels sick, and also you think that was perhaps why the softness in the eyes was there for Rosa Thomas-Dalton. You suddenly realise, oh yeah, he was being nice to her because she's sick all the time, and now he's feeling sick, and you've never seen him. I mean, he's very experienced, former Royal Navy, and again you see his hand is now gripping the bar. and is going whiter than white. And he sort of turns, leans on it, and says, "Oh, I'll talk to Duff in just 1 minute. What's all this business that you're talking about?" But he doesn't look at you all. He sort of turns away, which is most unlike him. Crowe, are you going to do anything?
Yeah, I think I will. I think what McCutcheon pointed out to me, I think I'm going downstairs. I'm going to go down the steps, see what that fuss is about. Even if it's just
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you walk to the door. Giraud, I'm gonna say that because it was a hard success, I'll give you a little choice as well. Are you going to go any particular direction, a few yards, or are you going to stick with the group?
I'm actually sticking with the captain and just coming close to him. So this is
Nice.
setting confidence. Like, Captain, you need to go to your quarters, maybe see the dock.
What you hear is, I don't think I'm even going to make it there, old chap.
Come on.
And as he vomits, the figure that you recognise as Percy Brown. It is a name you've heard before. Percy Brown, the chef, comes out. Huge fella. Fat as anything. But, he loves his food. Good on him.
You don't want a thin chef.
He comes out. He's got beard as well. A bit like the captain's, but it's gingery brown. He comes out, and he's in his apron, bareheaded. He's not got his cold jacket on. You've all got jackets on. It's cold. It's like 2 degrees. And that's the Antarctic summer. He staggers out, and you hear this kind of and he's got an axe in one hand, and in his left hand,
Fucking hell.
he has the head of the radio operator, Nilsson.
Fuck. What? Fuck. Jesus Christ.
So, Crowe, you're heading directly towards this.
At this point, the chef appeared with an axe and a severed head. My instinct kicks in. My journalistic instincts.
I think you managed to get that out, Basker, before your sanity roll.
Maybe it's in my involuntary action, let's see.
So, yeah, well, that's a beautiful involuntary action. So, Cook...
My mania is to narrate
Giraud.
everything.
So
Perfect, thank God.
as he burst out from where I was going down, that's the run.
Yeah, he's just come out with his head. It's dripping blood, and the axe is dripping blood running down his hands. There's
God.
what you at first maybe thought was sort of the juice of some beautiful Argentinian steak, you now realise is actually probably human blood.
Fuck.
Sort of spattered all over him.
I told you we wouldn't get off the boat.
I thought you meant because of time.
I thought it was because of time.
Danny Cook, Edwin Crowe, and Pascal Giraud.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You blink hard. The old instincts kick in,
Yeah.
and you can all make choices without having to make a sanity roll.
Yeah.
Johnny McCutcheon, Barney Basker.
I mean, if my last move was to go down the steps.
Well, you're well ahead, but let's deal with our sanity rolls.
Sorry, yeah.
The shock of the new.
Good lord.
So no sanity roll for those of us with, I guess, combat experience? Or...
The three of you, as it turns out, have combat experience.
Well, I've rolled a 93.
Ooh, lovely.
I rolled a really good roll on my sanity. I passed it. Flying colours.
A 93 on my 40 sanity.
A pass for McCutcheon, and Dalton's nodding, but I'm not sure if that means...
A hard pass, 29 to a 70.
Yeah, she's got some Sam.
Although I'd like to say that on the sight of the blood, she immediately throws up on herself again.
yes, I think that is fair, but you're not frozen.
No. I mean, far from it.
There's no involuntary action. So it's a D3, I think, Basker, because it's just so unexpected.
Yeah.
Do you want me,
My
do you want me
sanity
to roll?
roll was so good.
Please do. I love it when players roll their own sound loss.
1.
Lovely. Very nice.
An eighth of my remaining sanity left in me that I can use without going mad.
40 sanity. This is a good thing to know, actually. So
Yeah, mine's only 45, but I rolled an astonishing 6 on my sanity. So I think, as I see this figure come out, the cigarette just goes into my mouth and I slowly light it.
I thought you were going to say slowly swallow it.
and then jump overboard.
And then pull it out your nose.
Got off the boat, though. Got off the boat. Ship.
Yeah.
Ship. It's not a boat. So, now I'm going to... Because Crowe made the choice, I'm going to give you the edge and do the lead. So you're the Dex order.
Great.
Because you're closest, and
Yes.
you were heading in that direction.
Yeah.
What is your dexterity out of interest?
70.
70. Giraud, what's yours?
Giraud, 70.
You're 70 as well. Danny Cook, what's yours?
55.
55. And I'll come back to... Essentially, the other three of you...
We've had a bit of a fright.
You've had a fright, so you've mastered your senses. I think Basker... I think the involuntary action is... You say that, and then you just...
If it's all right with you, I think you'll just record for this moment.
So I'll come back to McCutcheon and Dalton in a second. But you're still by Warncliffe, Basker. He's like 5 yards away from you.
Cool.
So Crowe, you see this man, he's kind of coming towards you
Yeah.
and looks frenzied.
Instinct kicks in. I've had this sort of moment, someone bursting out of their gents in the Georgian Crown or the sloop in Staithes, bursting out covered in some feculent matter and sort of looking for a scrap. And his hands are clearly, he's got an axe in one and a head in the other, right?
Yep.
And I think before I have time to even take in that, I just see the expression on his face, I see the whites of his eyes, and I go to grab his arms and just do a full nut straight on the bridge of his nose. Just want to fucking headbutt him.
Okay, so you're going to attack using Brawl.
Yeah. Go back to me, my teenage years.
Yeah, amazing. Let's do this.
Let's have a go. My brawl's not brilliant. It's been a while. And that is an 83, which is not good.
Well, he too has failed. So
Okay.
it's
The shock of the moment, I completely miss it, and I sort of go to head his collarbone by accident, or something.
Yeah, and I think his arms are his right arm is slippery with blood.
Yeah.
And
too
so
messy a
he's
moment.
sliding down. You can't get a good purchase on him. He's stronger than you first thought, perhaps.
Yeah.
But he tries to he perhaps slightly nonsensically tries to brain you with the skull of the head. Without kind of swings over, so sprays blood across the deck.
Wow.
Dalton instantly vomits again.
Excellent.
There's nothing left then.
Nothing left.
Poor
Dry
girl.
retching, brandy.
So nothing either way for those two, but no wounds on either side. Giraud, I imagine like a cat.
At this...
Big cat.
Yes, although he does spit out a Quebecois curse, Calais, as the blood from the head splatters all over the deck. And he is going to attempt... He's holding his glass in his hand. He's going to glass it. He's going to, try to smash the glass into his face. Or no, wait, is it...
Nice.
Is it a glass? That's the question.
Roll up.
Oh, yeah.
That is 52 versus 80.
Oh yeah, you're lucky.
I am a lucky fella.
You're lucky. You're insanely lucky.
Let's see if my brawl is as good as my luck. It would be brawl, yes.
Yeah, so you charge over with the glass, but I'll give you damage with improvised weapons. It's not just your fist.
That is a 49 on 60.
Nice. Sadly, you don't get a damage bonus, do you? But so it's so improvised weapon. 1d4.
Yeah, punch would be 1d3.
Yeah, I think 1d4. I'm going to say, because it's glass, I'm going to say 1d4 plus 1.
Yeah.
That is 3 points of damage.
But you're using it up to do this. You don't get to keep using it.
Oh yeah, no, I just smashed the glass into his face.
Yeah. Begbie style.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to position myself so that I can be out of the way of the hand that has the... Was it a meat cleaver or a knife?
Yeah. It's an axe.
An axe. I'll try to get away from the axe.
Yeah. So you sort of try. Yeah, you do the classic drop back, hoping to be able to sort of either dodge next or. Oh, so he flails at you, and just misses with the axe.
Okay.
It sort of sweeps across.
Another Quebecois occurs. A tabarnak!
All within the same moment. It was simultaneous action, but he's got this sort of bloody... It's through his cheek and into his bit of his neck, and you've not hit anything like an artery, but he is hurt. It was 3 damage.
3 damage, yeah. With the bonus.
Yep. So, Danny Cook. He's seen it all, Cook has.
Cook is stunned, though. He's just completely stunned, like no one expected this. And just so I think it's why, again, why he's so slow to act. I think I just look around. Just look around. Is there anything to hand that I can use? Rope, something hanging, something rigged to the side of the ship, anything.
So you could dash back to the canisters there. You're sort of almost opposite the bridge on the port side. So you could dash back to the canisters behind you, the big water canisters, or you could head to the lifeboat. But since you're taking a moment to pause and you've got war experience, so you can think in the madness. There is a safety line almost directly opposite the big water butts.
Is that something I could throw on him, or something?
There's a rope attached to that, and also there's a flare gun there.
So could I drag a rope and trip him up?
There is a fire axe in the hall.
Oh, now you mention it.
But it's sort of.
I'm not going to get into hand-to-hand combat.
You'd have to go past him. You'd have to go past him to try and go and get that. And also, there's a chance that he may actually have it in his hands. I don't know how.
Cookie's not brave enough to run past an axeman to get an axe and get into combat with him, but I will try and trip him. If I could grab a rope and then drag it across and try and take him out, take his feet out.
So you run to the safety line.
Yeah, let's try that.
You grab it and you're heading back there with it.
Yeah.
It's a sprint.
I'm trying to
away from the fight.
Literally sweep him off his feet.
Excellent. You hear a scream from inside the ship and sound of smashing because you're closer.
Okay.
The others don't necessarily hear that.
I don't change course or anything. I'm going to get the rope and try and trip him up.
So Dalton, I think, has the highest dexterity. But Basker, how high was yours?
30. 30 is my distance.
So Dalton's dexterity is very good. So although you're vomiting, you're kind of aware of things. Because you're a little bit further away from the action, in fact, actually, you could all 3 of you see Duff, who's standing on the port bow, stagger back, turn round, and vomit. And his face is coming up, and there's sort of streaks of bluey white liquid coming out of his mouth.
Oh.
And he looks at you with wide eyes, and then he starts going, it's baring his teeth, and he's kind of flexing his hands weirdly, so that his fingers are sort of like he's making claws and pushing them into his palm. But he's just standing there looking, and then he seems to look out to sea and start sort of waving the hands at something that he can see that you can't. All the 3 of you in your sort of... Basker, you're not really able to do anything about it, really, but you do see this happening. But Dalton, what are you going to do? He's 50 yards away. The other guy's not. He's 20 yards away. The cook is 20 yards away.
I think I'm so stunned by the violence and the blood, and then now this weird blue tinged vomit and kind of deranged behaviour that's happening. How's the captain at this point?
The captain is vomiting and is holding on, but he's shaking his head. You could go over to him.
And has he got the same blue? I want to.
You can't quite see it. His beard's definitely got streaming stuff. You can.
I think obviously the parallel of two of the crew, 2 high-ranking crew members.
Yeah, Warncliffe's closer.
Yeah, I think I want to see what's happening with Warcliffe. Is this a more imminent danger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He turns and looks at you in horror for a second, and then goes, "I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Damn it to hell. Is the ship moving strangely for you? Wait. Why are there's 3 of you? Who? Oh God! Could you give me I'll give you a first aid with a bonus die. or a hard education. It might make the same thing. It might equal the same. Well, a bonus die gives you 2 shots at it. Although your education's very good, isn't it? So you'd be 42, I think, on an education roll. So maybe go hard education.
And no bonus die on education?
No.
0.
That's 100.
0, 0, 0.
Oh dear.
The classic fumble.
I have rolled 0, 0, 0.
100.
Captain's dead.
Third dice roll in.
She strangles him to death. Into the shark's mouth.
You're pretty...
Straight to bed.
He grabs you, and you both fall over the edge of the boat.
You're pretty sure that...
Right, guys, I'm just going to pop in there.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you want to run with this one? What do you think's going on then? With I mean, you've basically got completely the wrong idea. So whatever you think is going on might be perfect. What do you think's going on?
I wonder if there's some sort of contagion that's happening here. But also, I'm looking to the captain as the most senior member of the crew. You know, maybe he has some way of restoring order or some idea of how to restore order that.
Yeah.
You know, he could take charge of the situation.
Yeah, which is tragic because, of course, you realise in that moment he is the source of the contagion.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Clearly, you couldn't be more right about that. It's an instinct mixed with years of high education. I mean, you're a very sophisticated individual, Oxford fellow. Well, not fellow yet, but soon to be fellow, almost certainly.
Fingers crossed.
But you're a museum curator at.
Your tenure.
And you're 100% convinced that it explains why he was looking so ill. It all connects. So, McCutcheon, an interview is going on to your right, just where the captain is, directly ahead of you, in front of the entrance, the nearest entrance to the ship, is a battle between Crowe, Giraud, and Brown, the cook. And off to your left, a man is going mad.
My dex is 65, by the way, in case you need to know that.
Yes.
I think he's, fundamentally he's a bit of a pacifist. But this is a nasty situation. I think what I might, given that there's a few people now surrounding the cook, I might run at him and see if I can get in there, grab his axe arm and try and disarm him, so that I can try and put an end to this horrible violence.
I love that.
I guess that's a manoeuvre.
I love that. But I am going to say that as you take those first few steps, it becomes clear to you that actually, I mean, that he is frenzied, and you're not 100% sure whether you have the high brawl needed for that. But manoeuvres are cool, man.
Yeah.
I encourage it.
Yeah. You could take off your CND shirt and just wrap it around his arm.
So you're strongly advising me against that.
I'm advising you that it may not play into your favour, but I love the move. But I think you take a few steps forward.
Yeah.
I mean, if only you had the dreadnought, right? You could swing it.
I could swing it, but I don't think I would. But
you could run back to the cabin, I suppose. I mean, there are other doors. It's not that big a ship.
Other guitars.
But I've just had a scream from down below as well.
Well, actually, because of your previous extreme listen, it'll be the last time I use it. You hear thudding feet coming up from below decks, which is the crew. They're the crew quarters. You're on the same level as the. Actually, no, everyone's down below, but they're at the bottom. You hear more shouting and running, and it sounds like people are coming up. So I'll give you that advantage for having moved forward.
Okay.
But I'll have to hurry as to what your action might be.
Yeah. That was my first instinct. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, do it.
I'm going to
love it.
So, is that a straight brawl roll?
That is
do the manoeuvre.
It is a brawl roll, but you have to
better him, right?
Yeah.
I'm rolling incredibly well.
Excellent.
So far.
Do
That's
it.
an extreme success. That's an 8 on a 45 brawl.
Oh, lovely.
Sick.
Yeah, I mean, he's rolled a 90, so you're all right. I think he doesn't quite know, and he's clearly not 100% with it. As you get closer, and all three of you now notice it, He has no beard, but he has these streaks of white foam with blue tinge down the lines of his face, from the corners of the mouth. Bubbly white foam. And maybe even a little bit around the nostrils as well.
Rabies.
And he wants to try and do something about it, but he's sort of so focused on Giraud. And he's pulling the axe back again. Although it's slippery, you grab a hold of it. Could you... What's your strength?
55.
Could you give me a strength check?
Oh dear. I failed that.
Yeah, so did he. So there's a tussle, but and it comes out, but it also comes out of your hand and kind of clatters on. You go over with it. He's still up on his feet. I mean, you're not in the combat anymore, and you're not the focus of his combat. But you're now sort of back on your bum and with your hands out behind you. The axe is right next to you. A successful disarming has occurred. Great. So, Basker, you lost the sanity, but I'm not going to punish you with complete immobility. It's your choice.
I'm stood relatively close to all this, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're 15 yards away from you directly ahead.
Okay, well, in that case...
Boom distance.
I stride forwards. I've had enough of this. Ruining the documentary. I've got the microphone on a sort of boom arm. So as I walk past Crowe, I sort of push it into his hands for him to take it off me, and I roll my sleeve up, and then I punch this chef right in between the eyes. I've got a lot of boxing experience.
That is not so unlikely.
It's true. Got me kicked out of Oxford.
Yeah. The Oxford connection.
That's why his education's terrible.
I love that.
I'm incredibly tall as well.
Liking your character more and more.
Yes, he's sort of freakishly tall, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Stephen Merchant strides up and just...
Stop that!
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, it all depends on this roll, I guess.
Silly.
Yeah.
No. That's an 81 on my 50 brawl.
Oh, what a shame.
Stephen Merchant strides up and punches the air.
I think such is his physical state, there's no way that he can corral his powers of attention to even fight back at you. He sort of flails in response, and some foam flicks off. Ooh, could you give me a luck check, Basker and Giraud?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
God.
That's 42 on 80.
Yeah, nice.
Where's my luck? Yeah, that's fine. That's a 26 on 45.
And a sort of a fine mist of foam seems to throw off his face. And he goes... but then he sort of... It's as if he still thinks he's got the axe, and he sort of swings at you and kind of... And then he looks at his hands as if something's disappearing from his hands, and he can't understand why. And he looks round at you. That is technically the end of that round. So...
Well managed.
We have 70 and 70 from Giraud and Crowe. I think it's 75 from Dalton,
yeah.
65 McCutcheon, 65 Basker. Cook, did I get your... Adam, did I get your dexterity?
55.
Mine's 30.
Oh, 35. 55 from... Okay,
mine's 30. 30.
Yeah.
Very slow.
And is it power? It's power, isn't it, that defines who goes first out of Giraud and...
No, the combat skill.
Oh, combat skill. Sorry, of course it is, yeah. Yeah, little leading.
I'm using Brawl, so that's 60.
Yeah, yours is higher than mine.
But only just.
Okay.
But Dalton technically has the first turn out of sheer sort of electric nerves.
Hello.
But she's not in the combat.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
So Dalton, what you gonna do?
I think having had this realisation that the captain is sick, and we're all sick of the same thing. Well, yeah, like try to push him away as much
over the rail.
Yeah.
I think for the benefit of those listening at home, I should explain that both Jeany and Dan are using their combined 6 years, 3 years each of theatrical training in the finest schools in the land to mime pushing Captain David Warncliffe off the edge of the ship over the railing. And
if he's sort of slipping and sliding around.
Fuck.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, you do 100% Rosa Thomas-Dalton. You believe that he is the cause, the epicenter of the contagion.
Oh, wait, you're doing this to the captain?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Fumble was with the captain.
Yeah. He's patient zero.
I think it's instinctive, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, whether you were to say you definitely pushed him over the ship's edge, or whether you just pushed him because you wanted to get him away from you.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, from a meta point of view, it's like, oh, he's done. He's infected. Let's just...
I see the way it's
Cleansing.
going. Okay, I see.
We don't want to end up in a thing situation where we're having to test people. Get them now while we know who they are.
We don't want to end up in that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. No, that's the other way to go.
Not again.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't wait till all our heads have legs and they're wandering around.
The ultimate study.
I was on TV last night.
Oh, can't wait to watch it again.
Is anyone else close enough to help me push him?
The only person close enough now, I think, is... actually, no. They've all kind of engaged or have gone past.
Okay.
You can see Cook running back, and he's the closest to you. And actually, Giraud, you could probably reach, but he does seem very intense. I mean, he looks like he's looking for an opening.
Yeah, I would think my focus is entirely on the insane man who recently had an accident.
Who just had his accident. Yeah. I mean, he's massive. He's a big guy.
And might I shout out something to the rest of the group?
Yes, you could do that.
Yeah.
At the same time as pushing him?
I'd probably push him and then turn to the group and say, they're all sick. Watch out.
Lovely. So give me...
And then gesture to here.
Yeah.
Because we've all seen this blue, white, bubbly thing.
Salmonella. 1984.
Just a bad case of salmonella.
Right? Kinder eggs gone wrong.
Government need to crack down on that.
Edwina Curry, right?
Edwina Curry.
That's all ancient politics. I think the call I'm looking for is a brawl. A brawl or a brawl. A brawl.
A bowl roll.
Brawl.
A brawl.
This is a bowling roll.
Brawl roll.
Yeah.
I got a 13 on a 28.
Oh my word.
Spare.
Strike.
Look at her go.
That's it.
Okay, so you push him directly backwards, and he looks horrified, staggers back, and begins to teeter, really teetering on the railing. He's not gone, but he's clearly in the process of really losing his balance and might tip over. But he's not out yet.
His feet coming up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think 1 foot is off. It looks like he could go, but you want to. That probably gives you a bit of momentum to move, but you wouldn't be able to engage the other combat or anything because you've. But are you running towards Cook, or are you heading back? I mean, Duff's behind you.
I think I'm heading towards Cook. Yeah.
Yeah. So sort of sneaking round back to the steerage. No, the stern. Push, go. Love it. So you've done that. Giraud. Pascal Giraud.
Did I see where the axe landed?
It is unfortunately on the other side. He's a right-hander, and it's on the other side of the combat to you. Because I sort of had you pulling back to his left.
Okay.
Only a little bit. You could try and dive for it. You could do one of those sexy roll pickups.
Sure. What would I use for such a thing? Brawl?
Probably.
Or you could.
Oh, go on, Dan.
You could ask me for it if you could. He's probably near me, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Give me the axe.
Yeah, love it. McCutcheon, do your throw roll, or you can do something else.
My throw's not very good.
Slide it.
Throwing an axe.
As you
crowd of people.
He says, "Slide it." Give me a throw roll with a bonus die.
Okay. I haven't told you yet where I'm going to be throwing it. Well, you're in luck. I was trying to throw it over the side, but I failed my throw roll.
By how much?
considerably.
Yeah. Okay, so you don't slide it. You hoss it. Pretty sure I've got a D12 somewhere.
Must be the axe. Chucks it over the side.
But it's not going to make sense. So it's either it's it's D6. It'll be fine.
These pacifists, so rude.
It's going to hit one of us in the back.
Okay, so he.
Maybe it hits the captain.
For a horrible moment, you think he's going to throw it at you, Giraud, and you're like, I just said slide, but he kind of does this weird throw to the right, and it clangs into the side of the because it's all it's a bar, but then there's sheets of metal between the surface of the ship. Surface of the
I assume it lands nowhere within my reach.
Oh, absolutely no! He's made it much harder.
All right, then I suppose I'm just punching this guy in the face.
Yeah.
We're literally stood around him in a circle, just trying to punch him in the face.
Speaking of good rolls, that is an 11, which is an extreme success.
Awesome.
Right.
Sick.
But I don't have a glass anymore.
Yeah. That's because I would have given you the impale with the glass, maybe. Ooh. But sadly,
well, here's the thing. For my combat maneuver, could I do the thing where I just sort of do the old 1 foot in the center of the chest and just kick him straight back?
Oh, back into the entrance.
Yeah.
Down the stairs.
Down the stairs, hopefully.
Well, yeah. You have to be very lucky because the stairs come up.
The old Sparta kick.
And then there's a T-junction.
I am very lucky.
Yeah, you are incredibly lucky. Give us the kick. With the extreme, it becomes a free maneuver. I'll say. Let's.
Yeah. So the kick is the hit is an 11, and then do you want me to roll luck or first damage?
Yeah, let's see how much damage you do first.
So that was a 4, but it's just a straight unarmed, so it'll be 3.
Nice. So another 3.
D3 damage, and then roll luck. Yes.
If you roll luck, let's see what your luck does.
That's not bad. It's a 48 on 80.
I think he trips on because there's always that lip on those doors, which marks and this is an absolutely kind of swing lockable door to prevent water coming in on terrible weather. One of the circular locks, winch lock. You know what I'm saying? So he trips, falls backwards. And it's the perfect timing for 2 crew members to charge over him. They're both screaming, they're going, what the hell's going on? Well, the first one is Ahmad Patel, who's really sprinting. All of you see that there's no white foam. He's running like crazy.
Yeah.
But he swings around and his arms are reaching out. Come on, Jones, he says. And you hear this, I'm coming, he's gone mad, I tell you. And Jones comes out. He's that same Russian sniper that we all had in Machine Translation Call of Cthulhu, the Welsh one. And he's holding his arm, which is covered in blood, and he's sort of staggering out, and he looks very, very pale.
Oh, dear.
And they sort of stagger around, they go, he's gone mad, I tell you, sir, Captain. At which point, Crowe, you have all of the agency in the world.
So I've just seen this absolutely sternum-destroying Sparta kick.
Yeah. He's down, he's not out. He's down, he's not out.
And these, no. But these guys have burst out from downstairs.
Yeah. They've just come straight through.
What's clear to me is chaos has broken out.
Yeah.
Onto the decks. So what I need to do is seal that situation. So I shut the door and lock it.
The Titanic manoeuvre.
If that's doable.
Yes, and I must apologise because you, Crowe, have the information regarding the access to the armoury is available only to Captain Warncliffe and Ericsson, the first mate. They both have keys.
Yes.
This is common knowledge on board ship. It's nothing fancy. They don't hide it in that sense. But I think the others of you have never even focused on it. Crowe, of course, it's partly your job to know where all of this stuff is.
Yeah.
And you are also aware that there are various flare guns, one on either side of the ship. One's just behind you.
Ah, excellent.
Yeah, you're also pretty sure that the captain keeps a private firearm in his own quarters. He implied as much once at dinner.
True.
At the captain's table.
I'm suggesting shutting the door simply for the moment. If it'll lock permanently, I won't do it. But I was thinking I could just slam it closed and turn the...
Let's say you're coming from the port bow.
Tell me where I am, yeah. If this guy's between me and it, my focus will probably be still him.
Sorry, the geography of ships, eh? So you are heading to the door. You're coming down the ship, and you can see Cook, Danny Cook, running up. He's got rope. He kind of clocks you. The two of you sort of clock each other, sort of see each other in that moment. But obviously you still have the agency. He's obviously got this rope and was thinking he was going to do something, but the guy's just been knocked down, and these other two sailors have just come through. They're both... Jones is on the engineering team.
So I know Jones pretty well.
Yeah, you do know him, and he's quite a reliable guy. And Ahmed is he's a deckhand, the youngest.
Great. In which case, I don't do any of that. I just turn to Jones and I say, what the fuck's happening down there? What's going on? How many of them are down there? Who's gone mad? We need to sort this out.
He says, "Oh, it's Jeff. It's Jeff Philpott. He's right behind us." So he's the senior engineer.
Right.
In that split second, you can hear heavy breathing and someone charging up the stairs. I mean, like they'll be there soon. The Brown, the big cook, is trying to get back up.
In which case, if my last part of the thing is to hear this heavy breathing and someone charging out of the space in the door, I turn back to Cookie, and I sort of gesture to throw an end of the rope. I try to signal that anyway, like sort of, but that's the last part. I imagine
nice.
It's on to someone else, yeah.
Well, I think it's a combined action. It's McCutcheon who goes next. But because he's sort of done that thing with the axe in response, I think this is... I'm going to stagger through. I'll come back to you. But if Danny Cook, it's your choice. Do you... It's all about other players asking other players to throw things. What do you do with this request?
Let's throw it.
Yeah.
Over the side, yeah?
I'll give you a bonus die because you're so close.
I need it.
Yeah, I think we all do with throw.
Yes. Just, yes.
Yeah. He looks stressed, and it's a bit wayward, but you catch it. You pull it, presumably pull it taut.
Yeah.
Crowe, as you come back, you get to see what Basker, Giraud, and Dalton can see. Well, actually, do you know what? You can all see this. It's all like the corners of eyes for Danny and Johnny.
It's all those bloody peripherals.
You pull it taut. Philpott comes charging around the corner. He's got 2 kitchen knives, and he sees Brown there in front of him, and he just sinks them into his neck.
Shit.
And then pulls them out, and blood goes everywhere, and foam from his mouth goes everywhere.
Fucking hell.
But it's all contained. And he screams and says, "Blue Sapphire!" And then he cuts his shirt open and charges out.
Jesus Christ.